Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 16 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. This is our very third episode of Road to Ranked for 2016. If you have not seen the last two episodes, definitely check them out. As I said, I'm going to be using the Groudon Palkia team just for a couple more days before switching to a new team. So without further ado, let's just jump into today's episode. Currently, I actually played a couple of games off screen, so we are sitting at a rating of 16 and 12. Let's see if we can make a push for the 1650s, if not higher, and then try to get into the 1700s by next week. And for those that don't know, you can play VGC 2016 on Battle Spot now. You just have to choose the special rule set as opposed to the double rule set. So it's a really excellent way to practice. I know a lot of players are already playing in-game and, provides a great alternative next to Pokemon Showdown. We're going to find Saints from Italy with a rating of 1586 to kick off today's episode. And as always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please share your support by leaving a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, this is kind of interesting because in the very last match in yesterday's episode, we faced an Yveltal team with Liepard as well. This time my opponents got Yveltal, Groudon, Liepard, Crobat, Salamence, and Metagross. So the only Mega Evolution, or excuse me, there are actually two potential Mega Evolutions in both Salamence and Metagross. The two legendaries are Groudon and Yveltal, and then you've got Crobat and Liepard to round it out. So the Metagross is probably the one that sticks out to me the most. It's not used nearly as often as a Crobat, Salamence, Liepard, and Groudon. Yveltal is not too common, but it's still a very excellent pick, and, as it demonstrated in yesterday's episode, it was able to just one-hit KO my Cresselia with a knockoff. So, in general, I think dealing with the Yveltal is pretty scary, especially because I still don't really know its full moveset. Sometimes you see special, sometimes you see Snarl variants, so there's a whole range. I would like a Mungus here, but it just kind of gets beat by everything on my opponent's team, so maybe that's not the best of ideas. Though, the idea of Groudon Amoonguss is kind of tempting, just because if my... Nah. I do like the Groudon lead here. Maybe I'll go Groudon Kangaskhan for Fake Out. Yeah, I like that. I think Palkia is still pretty good here. And for the last one, Landorus for Intimidate. Yeah, let's go with Landorus. So let's lock this in. When I built this team, I really didn't consider the Yveltal matchup just because, like I mentioned, it's not exactly the most popular legendary right now. We have seen it used to pretty good success on a lot of teams, but, it's still very early metagame. We haven't had any major regional championships yet, especially over here in America. But it looks like we are going to see the Liepard Yveltal lead from my opponent against my Kangaskhan and my Groudon. Now, the nice thing is I'm running the special Groudon variant, so foul play from Yveltal shouldn't knock me out. But what he can do here is just fake out Groudon and go for a foul play onto Kangaskhan, or you can fake out Kangaskhan, go for a foul play. Obviously, a Eruption would do huge amounts of damage right now, but this is already kind of a scary start. And of course, Liepard's foul play is also boosted, so I'm wondering if my opponent is carrying foul play on Yveltal. Typically a very solid move. We do have Palkia and Landorus in the back, so I could Intimidate, but I think if you're my opponent here, you might want to trade Fake Out, so then you have the Encore ability the following turn. And I want to take a foul play to Kangaskhan, though. Maybe I'll just... This first turn, I'll just go for the Eruption. How much can he really do to Groudon? Even if it's like 50%, I still get good damage off. I'll just Fake Out and Eruption and see how it goes. But the scary thing about VGC 2016 is you make one mistake, and that can be it. So... especially when dealing with teams I'm not as comfortable with, I definitely am learning a lot right now. But we actually see the Protect come out from Yveltal, but Liepard not going for Protect, so maybe a Fake Out onto the Groudon slot. But no, I guess we're going to see a Foul Play come out, or a Thunder Wave. That can also happen. Interesting. So I get an Eruption off here, but Kangaskhan is paralyzed, which obviously sucks a little bit. I'm going to bring Liepard down to its Focus Sash. And whenever you see a Liepard, you should basically expect Focus Sash in 2016. Kind of surprised to see Thunder Wave. Of course, now Liepard can Encore my Kangaskhan into Fake Out. But my opponent might be smart and knows that I know he's going to Encore me, so I could just actually stay in and go for another attack. Or I could Protect, switch out to Landorus. He might double up onto Groudon, which is my main fear. Because he knows an Eruption is still very powerful. I'm going to Flamethrower here onto Yveltal. And I'm going to conserve Kangaskhan because given that he paralyzed it, I can actually set up Trick Room with Palkia in the late game and kind of sweep with Kangaskhan and Palkia. So that's the nice thing when I get intimidated, but it looks like we're actually going to see a switch out on the Yveltal's end, so maybe the Groudon coming in from my opponent's end, but it's actually going to be Salamence, but I'm more than okay with that. I'm surprised to see him just give up the Yveltal slot like that. The nice thing is because his Yveltal's faster than my Kangaskhan since I'm paralyzed, he switches out first, which allows me to bring in Landorus and get a free Intimidate on both of his Pokemon. Single target Flamethrower against normal Salamence without the increase in special defense and HP is also pretty nice, though no increase in HP, excuse me. But smart enough on my opponent's end not to go for the Encore, just launches a Foul Play. You see how much damage that does to Landorus, still brings me down to 56 HP. But the Flamethrower here does a huge amount of damage there to the Salamence, bringing it under 50%. So kind of even turn in terms of damage, but I'm more than okay with that. Because now my opponent's definitely feeling the pressure. He can target one of my two Pokemon. I think this next one I'm actually just going to go for an Eruption and a Rock Slide. I definitely feel pretty decent right now, especially because he paralyzed Kangaskhan. And the thing about teams like this, especially this team, is that you see I have a mix of Trick Room Pokemon and Pokemon that take advantage of Trick Room, like Groudon, Cresselia, Palkia, Mungus. But then you've got Kangaskhan and Landorus, which are really fast. And as I've explained in previous videos, the kind of idea behind that is you don't want to dedicate yourself 100% to Trick Room. So you want to be able to have a mode that can operate even if Trick Room isn't up, which is basically what this game has demonstrated. The Salamence here actually opts for the Protect, so getting the speed boost there by Mega Evolving, as he is just going to launch another Foul Play here with Liepard. This time, however, targeting down the Groudon. Good play there. Landorus' Rock Slide here is going to be able to take out the Liepard, though. So, like I mentioned, because this is a special variant of Groudon, it's not going to do very much damage, which is obviously excellent for me. And I knock out Liepard, which is nice because, you know, it's always just an annoying option with Thunder Wave and Encore, though he didn't reveal Encore, but that's presumably his last move. So, Yveltal comes in now. This is a little bit scary. Because Salamence now outspeed, so he can just Hyper Voice and go for a Dark type attack. So maybe I'll just switch in Kangaskhan, or I can get the Palkia for free in. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Protect and Explosion, and if he messes up here, then I outright win the game, but basically this is sacrificing it, so I get the Kangaskhan in for Fake Out Pressure. Though then I guess he can just double Protect. But he actually launches a Draco Meteor there, maybe predicting a switch in from my Palkia, but that actually kind of helps me out, because he's going to be at -2 special attack, and since I do have the Hobbenberry as well, I'll be able to easily survive its attacks. But what I really want to find out is what Yveltal's going here, and it's going for Dark Pulse. Okay, so looks like this is a special variant as opposed to the physical one we saw yesterday. My Groudon is pretty invested in special attack, as you know, we've seen. So I'll bring in Palkia here. And I feel like if you're my opponent, you double up onto one of my two Pokemon. So let's see, if you double up into Palkia, Eruption can win me the game. What the hell? If his last one is Groudon, I'm still kind of screwed, I think. Gonna go for the Trick Room here. Palkia might be able to survive a Dark Pulse, but presumably his last move is going to be the Double Edge on Salamence, assuming he has Hyper Voice as well. But I think I'm gonna go for the... I'll Flamethrower here, play it safer, and Trick Room. Okay, he just goes for the Double Edge. He is intimidated, though. Can I survive a Dark Pulse? Probably not. Eruption might have been the call there. There's the Dark Pulse. Palkia... doesn't hang on. I don't think Flamethrower can knock Yveltal out. He is Life Orbed. I do have Sucker Punch pressure now with my Kangaskhan, but the main thing is by not setting up Trick Room... Yeah. I think I should have just fully committed there, knowing that if I Eruption there, and you double up onto my Groudon, then I get Trick Room up, and then Kangaskhan and Palkia can win me the game, whereas now your last one's probably going to be the Groudon. So here he can just double Protect. Maybe if I predict a Groudon switch in. Nah, he'd have to be really silly to lose this one. I'll Flamethrower Salamence and Fake Out Yveltal. Yep, Salamence protects his, but I think here you just go for the double Protect play. Yeah. So I was hoping maybe I could survive a -1 Double Edge and a Dark Pulse, but obviously Yveltal's special attack is, or its Dark type attacks are boosted by its ability, so, you know, I don't know the calcs between those two very much, but either way, I think Eruption would have been a better play on Groudon. Okay, so now I can obviously Sucker Punch. I mean, I'm assuming his last one is Groudon. If not, maybe we still have a chance here, but here I think that, yeah, I mean, wait, go for the Sucker Punch onto Yveltal. Or onto Mence and Flamethrower. Or it could be a little bolder and Sucker Punch the Yveltal and Earth Power Immense, predicting a switch out. I'm gonna Flamethrower. Actually, Sucker Punch isn't probably gonna even knock out Yveltal. That was silly. Let's see. I think my only shot here was going for an Earth Power. No, he just stays in with both. Okay. So Sucker Punch onto Yveltal. Okay, at least picks up the knockout there. So probably going to be able to pick up a double knockout, but comes down to what his last one is. If it's Crobat for whatever absurd reason over Groudon, then we can win, but probably not going to be Crobat, as he double edges into the Groudon, which is good. Good play. If your last one is your the Groudon, then you just want to whittle my Groudon to make sure it's in KO range. But I guess if he's physical Groudon carrying Precipice Blades, we can still pull something off, because he can miss Precipice Blades, obviously. I would laugh so hard if his last one was Crobat, but no, it's going to be Groudon, yeah. So I think I should have considered the late game a little bit better, and that's why the Eruption play. But let's think, if I got the Eruption off, he would have knocked out Palkia, I would have knocked out both of his Pokemon there, most likely with Eruption. And then Kangaskhan is Fake Out Pressure, he can double protect, he can protect there. It's hard to say without knowing its attack. So here I will go for a... I'm just going to Earth Power and Double Edge. Maybe Double Edge plus Sucker Punch can KO him, but... if he's carrying Precipice Blades here, a miss could win me the game. I'm not sure if Double Edge plus Sucker Punch is enough to knock out Groudon, though, especially if he's bulky. I could go for a Protect here, though, with my Groudon, to force him to hit 3. Well, actually, he still has to hit all of them, I guess. Or for spread damage. Man, Precipice Blade's still a knockout, though. Yeah, I'll just Earth Power and Double Edge here. Let's see what he's carrying. Oh, he went for the Protect. Okay, just to scout out for my Protects. Makes sense. Earth Power. Unless he's Min Speed Groudon and I win the Speed Tide, then I can also win the game that way. But on this kind of team, you shouldn't be Min Speed if you're running Crobat, because that assumes Tailwind. So Earth Power. And Double Edge, yeah. There's a Precipice Blades! Oh, but I think he connects with both. Wow, so he had to deal with that risk. A Sucker Punch might still be able to knock out Groudon. Oh, that's unfortunate. Ah, but the full paralysis, too. If he wasn't bulky, Double Edge plus Sucker Punch might have actually been enough to knock him out. Yeah, I think the 25%, like, inability to move with paralysis is honestly the worst part about it. Like, I think even if it were solely for speed control move, a lot of people would use it, but, like, just reducing people down to 75% kind of stinks. But that was well played on my opponent's end. I'm pretty content with that. I think it came down to a couple of turns. Honestly, even in the late game, like, I had a pretty good chance of winning if he missed one of the 2 Precipice Blades, you know, win. If he misses Groudon, then, you know, I obviously just pick up the knockout. Even if he misses Kangaskhan, you know, I still have to attack through the paralysis. Protecting there maybe could help, but I don't think it would have done very much. But definitely an unfortunate loss. I think in terms of playing, you know, I'm pretty content. I think the matchup was a little bit more in my opponent's favor, and the biggest turn was him doubling up into Palkia, so I could have predicted that, maybe gone for the Protect with Palkia and a Eruption, so I think I should have played a little bit more riskier in the end, as opposed to saying, okay, regardless of what attack you make, I'm going to come out with it somewhat positive, because once I was restricted to my Groudon and Kangaskhan, basically I had said that I'm relying on a little bit on RNG to deal with your Groudon, so that wasn't the best of ideas, and I should have thought about that a little bit more, but, you know, all comes with the experience and from learning from these games. But a fun team for my opponents, and for sure, and a scary one, I think, just because I don't have any Dark-type resist on this team. For example, a Pokemon like Xerneas, which is obviously very common, can obviously just completely shut down that kind of lead matchup, whereas, you know, no Fairy-type Pokemon on this team, no Xerneas, so it makes it a little bit more difficult, but still pretty cool to see an Yveltal do well like that. But we're going to find Gash from Japan with a rating of 1504. Win here would put us back into the 1600s, so let's see if we can pick up a win. Pretty cool rain team here with Kyogre, Zekrom as the 2 restricted legendaries, Tornadus, Swampert, Gengar, and Scizor, so 2 potential Megas in Gengar and Swampert. I'd have to put my money on Swampert though, and excuse me, Scizor can actually be a Mega Evolution as well. Let's see what I want to lead with then. Now, Tornadus is a Pokemon that does get access to roleplay, so I do have to watch out for that. And again, I think he doesn't have great answers against Amoonguss. I kind of want to just see if I can start sporing right from the beginning. I don't like Cresselia as much here because he's got Gengar and Scizor. However, Cresselia is helpful in resetting the weather with Skill Swap. That's the only reason I'd bring it, but that's kind of a big reason. So yeah, I guess I'll actually just lead Amoonguss Cresselia with Groudon and Palkia in the back. Kangaskhan would be nice here, but I think Palkia's a little bit nicer. Yeah, it's a bit bulkier and can take attacks and dish out damage with Spatial Rend, which hits Tornadus, Kyogre, Swampert, and Zekrom. And Kangaskhan here. I guess the biggest fear is the Gengar, though the tough thing is not knowing whether it's Mega Evolution or not, because if you're not Mega Gengar, then you can obviously just bring it. If you are Mega Gengar, little reason to bring it if you're going to bring the Swampert as well. But pretty curious to see what this team composition does. We don't see very many Swamperts or Tornadus or Zekrom in VGC 2016 at all. Gengar's, decently common. Scizor, we don't even see that much. Nice answer against the Fairy-type Pokemon, mainly Xerneas, because you can Bullet Punch it, so, they can't just Geomancy in your face. As my opponent locks in his team just before time expires, let's get into this game and see if we can recover from that first loss. But yeah, pretty cool to see a Rain team dedicates a little bit more to Rain, since, obviously VGC 2016 is all about weather, but you don't see Pokemon that take advantage of the weather as much. So I'm going to lead with Amoonguss and Cresselia, very familiar lead from 2012, 2013, and 2015. We're going to see the Tornadus and Kyogre from my opponent's end. So this is interesting, because, like I mentioned, Tornadus gets access to Roleplay, which copies Kyogre's ability and resets the Rain. But I might just go for a Spore here and a Trick Room. Even if you Hurricane, I mean, I'm so specially invested, I think Amoonguss can take it. Even if he doesn't, then I get the free switch into Groudon. Yeah, so I'm just gonna Spore Tornadus and Trick Room here. See what he goes for. He might predict a Groudon switch and then roleplay Water type attack. Which is why Amoonguss here, worst case I get taunted. And he's gonna go for the Hurricane here, though. Which I'm fine, let's see how I can take that. Yeah, that Special Bulk helps out so much. I hang on with just under 50%, but the Citrus Berry will heal me back up. Hopefully no confusion here. Nice. Oh, are you kidding me? This Kyogre's answer to deal with Cresselia is Sheer Cold, and he connects immediately on the first hit. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't even know what to say there. Wow. Could set up Trick Room, but I kind of want Groudon because Tornadus is going to take its first turn of sleep here. Well, that's a little bit demoralizing, but I'm not giving up. Wow. I never expected to see the turn 1 Sheer Cold. So, Sheer Cold was actually a move that Jianghu ran on his Lapras, and, it makes a lot of sense on these bulkier Water-type Pokemon. It's not a great move, obviously, and it should be your last resort, and I guess my opponent just wanted to say, hey, if I hit it 30% instantly, pretty good. But you never want to start off the battle with the Sheer Cold hitting against you. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to actually take advantage of this, switch out into Palkia to try to set up a Trick Room and go for the Eruption here. This turn is really good because Tornadus is asleep. But, jeez. Maybe I could have Spored Kyogre there too. That might have been a better spot, but the thing is, I don't want to take an Ice Beam, and I'd rather get Palkia to potentially set up Trick Room, but no, I think Spore would have been the better play there. Let's see. I think, because Kyogre might switch out here. So the thing is, if he switches out, I knock out Tornadus, do a lot of damage to whatever comes in, but then he has 2 fully awake Pokemon. Yeah, he did switch out. Into Swampert, okay. Though I'm okay with that. Yeah, kind of wish I just predicted better, though. I haven't been playing too risky in this game, and that's not helping me. That wasn't even a risky play, per se. Well, let's see how much Eruption does to Swampert, obviously resisting it. Okay, not bad. Does over 50%, knocks out Tornadus. So we trade knockouts there, but you'd imagine how easy this game could have been if I just had Cresselia, got Trick Room up that first turn. But, hey, no Johns, let's just keep on going with it. But Zekrom coming in here as opposed to Kyogre. Interesting decision. I'm not going to complain about that, though. Huh. Wondering why my opponent did that. I'm going to Trick Room here. Switch back out into... No, I could Protect. I don't know what Zekrom honestly really does here. That's the thing. Because he can make 2 plays here. He can switch Zekrom out into Kyogre. Go for a Water type attack. That'd be kind of a bad play. Or he doubles up onto Palkia. I could Protect here. And Earth Power Zekrom. Or Eruption. Nah, I don't want to lose the Weather War, though. Decisions. I'm going for the Trick Room and the Earth Power onto Zekrom. Okay, he stays in with both. That's probably bad. Can he knock out my Palkia? You can't even go for a water type attack here. Okay. Oh, what? Very confused. Okay, Draco, but I think Hobbin allows me to survive that. Oh man, maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's why. Let's see. Come on, Palkia, you can do it. Oh my gosh, that did nothing. Here I was, like, hyping it all up, and I thought maybe if he was, like, Choice Specs or something, he'd be able to pick up the knockout, but, nope. Earth Power comes out, knocks out Zekrom. Wow. Very surprising game. I thought after that first turn I would have been in some trouble, but I think if my opponent wanted a better shot of winning this game, he should have just brought Kyogre in, because then at least you have pressure, you force the Groudon out, and you can double up into the Palkia slot. Also, wide guard on Mega Swampert. Pretty interesting decision. Not my favorite, because I think Mega Swampert's a Pokemon that wants to take advantage of basically the fact that you're very offensive, so you should use a full offensive moveset like Waterfall, Ice Punch, Rock Slide, etc. Or Earthquake. Missed the biggest attack there. Here I'm just going to protect and switch out into Amoonguss, though, to win the Weather War. Amoonguss shouldn't take too much damage. Even if he predicts and picks up a knockout, though, I get the free switching back to Groudon, so should be able to close out here with a win as long as nothing crazy comes out, but this game has already been pretty crazy. And, excuse me, actually, he does have the Sheer Cold, which is always an option during this point when you're kind of desperate. But the thing is, by bringing in Amoonguss, I can just Spore the Kyogre and even prevent that from happening. And I do have full 4 turns of Trick Room to take advantage of, so yeah, unfortunately Zekrom didn't do very much in this game. We did see a Zekrom in yesterday's episode too, so kind of a throwback to yesterday's episode with the teams we've been facing up against, but let's see how this plays out. I presume here he's probably going to want to go for a water type attack, maybe a waterfall onto the Groudon slot and an ice beam onto Palkia. The reason why I'm not attacking with Palkia here is because I'd rather just scout off for the moves and Palkia get some good damage off with Spatial Rend in future turns. So now this next turn I can just go for the Spore, but he actually goes for the Protect with the Swampert. Not going to help my opponent out here as he goes for the Scald. Smartly enough onto the Amoonguss slot, but now all I have to do is just go for a Grass Knot to knock out the Swampert. And I'm actually going to switch back out into Groudon to have full weather control of this game. So Grass Knot onto Swampert. And this is why it's kind of tough running rain modes, even with like Swampert or Ludicolo, because if your opponent has a Groudon, you know, they can really help render the non-Kyogre Pokemon useless. And, you know, the Pokemon are strong, like Ludicolo and Swampert are nice, but they're not that powerful, and they're kind of just rendered useless a lot of the times. So he's not going to protect. Amoonguss is going to be able to get that Grass Knot off. 4 times super effective. Knocks out the Swampert with the chip damage it had from Eruption earlier. Kind of funny that's chip damage considering how much it did. Kyogre here does launch an Ice Beam, so no Sheer Colds coming out. I guess my opponent's just going for it, but pretty nice comeback here we were able to pull off for how scary slash potentially annoying that first turn could have been. But props to my opponent. I think Ice Beam there was, or Sheer Cold turn 1 onto Cresselia is the best play possible. That's why Sheer Cold in general, I think it's honestly best for Pokemon like Cresselia, which don't do very much offense and kind of just sit there. I actually know that when John used it at that Premier Challenge, he knocked out James Bex's Cresselia in 1 hit with the Sheer Cold on the first turn too. So it's a nice way, 30% chance to stop Trick Room. I mean, that's not the worst of probabilities, so yeah. But now that we've got Amoonguss and Groudon in fully, should be able to just close out the game. So yeah, I'm going to split today's episode 1-1 as well, so let's see, we were, what, 2-0 on the first day, 2-1 yesterday, 1-1 today. Not bad, not bad. But, of course, I am still learning a lot of VGC 2016, so obviously there's a lot of information, a lot of Pokemon, a lot of teams that I'm getting used to. So it's kind of nice. You know, I honestly appreciate all the losses I have just because there's a lot of information to take away from all of them. Even though, like, today's loss against Yveltal at least wasn't as one-sided as the one from yesterday. Though yesterday's game, actually, in looking over, like, as I was reflecting it, on it. Yeah, it actually could have been won if I just made one play, and that's why in VGC 2016, you know, everything matters so much. But pretty fun episode. That does put us back over the 1600s, so gonna maybe spend 1 or 2 more episodes with the team. Might as well just finish the week with it, I guess. And then we're gonna switch to a brand new team. You guys gave me some pretty good recommendations, but if you have any other recommendations for core/Pokemon you want to see, definitely let me know in the comments below, and I'll work on getting those for the future team. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like always if you did, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright, peace.